Imagine for a moment that you are carrying a ticking time bomb inside your chest. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't skip a beat, it doesn't give you a headache or make you feel dizzy. It just sits there silently counting down day after day, year after year. This invisible pressure is quietly remodeling the walls of your arteries, thickening the muscle of your heart, and scarring the delicate filters of your kidneys. This is the reality of high blood pressure or hypertension. It is the single greatest risk factor for death on planet Earth. Yet most people who have it feel perfectly fine until the very moment they don't. For the last 50 years, we have been told a very simple story about this condition. We've been told there is one villain, a white crystal that sits on every dinner table in America: salt. But what if we've been prosecuting the wrong suspect? What if the real driver of your high blood pressure isn't tea, the salt you sprinkle on your eggs, but a different white crystal, one that tastes sweet, hides in 70% of the food supply, and fundamentally changes your body's chemistry? Today, we are going to open the hood on your metabolism to settle the sugar versus salt debate once and for all, and I'm going to give you the real science-backed roadmap to lower your pressure for good. Before we unravel this mystery, I want to welcome you to our community where we value medical truth over popular trends. If you are ready to take ownership of your health with information that goes deeper than the headlines, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and like this video. It truly helps us get this life-saving information to the people who need it most. I also want to be very clear that while I am a doctor, I am not your doctor. The information we are discussing today is based on cutting-edge research and guidelines from top medical organizations, which I have listed in the description below so you can verify everything for yourself. Always consult with your own healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet or medication regimen. To understand how to fix blood pressure, we first have to understand what it actually is. I want you to visualize your cardiovascular system like a garden hose. If you turn up the water at the spigot, you are increasing the volume of fluid in the hose and the pressure goes up. This has been the traditional salt theory for decades. The idea is that when you eat sodium, your body gets thirsty and holds on to water to dilute that salt. More water in your blood vessels means more volume, and more volume means higher pressure. It's a plumbing problem. But there's a second way to increase pressure in a garden hose without touching the spigot at all. You can squeeze the nozzle. If you tighten the hose, the pressure skyrockets even if the amount of water stays the same. This is where the story gets fascinating because recent research is showing us that while salt might load the gun by adding volume, it is sugar that pulls the trigger by squeezing the nozzle. Let's start by looking at salt, because it's not as simple as salt is bad. Your body actually has a brilliant, complex system for handling sodium. So when you eat a salty meal, your kidneys are supposed to filter out the excess and you pee it out. It's a seamless balance. But for about 50% of people with high blood pressure, this system is broken. So we call these people salt sensitive. For salt sensitive individuals, the kidneys struggle to excrete that sodium load. Instead of flushing it out, they hold onto it. The sodium accumulates in the blood, dragging water with it and stretching the blood vessels. But here's a new discovery that blew the field of cardiology wide open. We used to think sodium just stayed in the blood, and we now know, thanks to research on the TITSA phenomenon, that your body actually stores sodium in your skin and muscles. It binds to the tissue there, almost like a storage unit. And this skin storage system is regulated by your immune system. So when you overload your body with salt, immune cells in your skin sense it and release signals to clear it out. But if this system gets overwhelmed, or if your immune system is inflamed, that sodium gets trapped. It stiffens your blood vessels and drives your pressure up. And this tells us that salt sensitivity isn't just about your kidneys. It's an immune issue. However, even with this mechanism, salt is rarely the sole cause of hypertension in a metabolically healthy person. Now, enter the challenger, sugar. And when I say sugar, I am specifically talking about fructose. Fructose is the sweet molecule found in table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and fruit juice. Unlike glucose, which every cell in your body can use for energy, fructose is a bit of a toxin. It can only be processed by one organ, your liver. When you drink a soda or eat a sugary pastry, that fructose hits your liver like a tidal wave. Your liver cells have to expend enormous amounts of energy to process this fructose. In fact, they use up their energy currency, called ATP, so fast that the cells essentially go into a state of shock. This rapid energy depletion triggers a distress signal, and your liver starts producing a waste product called uric acid. You might know uric acid is the cause of gout, but it does something much more sinister to your blood pressure. This uric acid is a vascular toxin. It travels from your liver into your bloodstream and attacks the lining of your blood vessels. Specifically, it inhibits an enzyme called endothelial nitric oxide synthase. That's a mouthful, but all you need to know is that this enzyme produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the gas that tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and stay flexible. It's your body's natural blood pressure medication. When you eat high amounts of sugar, your uric acid spikes, your nitric oxide plummets, and your blood vessels constrict. Remember the garden hose? Sugar is squeezing the nozzle, and this happens immediately. Studies show that drinking just one 24-ounce sugar-sweetened beverage can spike your blood pressure by 15 points and your heart rate by 9 beats per minute. That is a massive stress test on your heart, and many people are doing it 3 or 4 times a day. But the damage from sugar doesn't stop at the blood vessels. It loops right back to the kidneys and connects with salt. High sugar intake causes your pancreas to pump out massive amounts of insulin. This leads to a condition called hyperinsulinemia, or chronically high insulin. Insulin is a hormone that tells your body to store energy, but it also has a direct effect on your kidneys. Insulin tells your kidneys to reabsorb sodium, and it physically activates the transporters that pull salt back into your blood. This is the aha moment where the sugar and salt theories merge into one. If your insulin is high because you are eating too much sugar and refined carbs, your kidneys are biologically programmed to hoard salt. You could be on a low salt diet, but your body will cling to every single milligram of sodium it can find because the insulin signal is overriding everything else. So we have a situation where salt provides the volume and sugar stiffens the vessels and locks the salt in. This explains why the modern industrial diet is the perfect storm for hypertension. We are eating ultra-processed foods that are loaded with sodium for preservation and loaded with sugar for taste. These foods are scientifically engineered to bypass your satiety signals, so you eat more of them. This is the salty six the American Heart Association warns us about. Bread, cold cuts, pizza, poultry, soup, and sandwiches. These foods are a double-edged sword. They give you the sodium load to expand your blood volume and the refined carbohydrates and sugar to spike your insulin and prevent you from peeing that volume out. It's a trap. And to make matters worse, these processed foods are completely void of the nutrients that would normally protect you, like potassium and magnesium. This brings us to the solution. How do we lower blood pressure for good? We have to reverse the engineering of the modern diet. The first step isn't just about restriction, it's about addition. We need to flood your system with potassium. Potassium is the biological antidote to sodium. It relaxes the smooth muscle cells in your arteries, literally forcing them to dilate and lower pressure. Our ancestors ate a diet with a sodium to potassium ratio of about 1 to 10. They ate 10 times more potassium than salt. Today, that ratio is flipped. We eat 3 times more salt than potassium by simply increasing your potassium intake, aiming for 3,500 to 5,000 milligrams a day. You can lower your blood pressure just as effectively as some medications. But don't just reach for a banana. You want the heavy hitters: cooked spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, avocados, and potatoes with the skin on. The second pillar of the solution is what I call the unprocessing protocol. You have to cut the liquid sugar. This is non-negotiable. Sodas, sweet teas, and fruit juices are concentrated delivery systems for fructose. They hit the liver too fast for it to handle. Eliminating these beverages is the single most powerful metabolic move you can make to lower your uric acid and restore your nitric oxide production. Step three is to read labels for the salty six we mentioned. You don't have to live a flavorless life, but you need to know that the turkey sandwich from the deli might have more sodium than 3 bags of chips. Swap the deli meat for fresh roasted chicken. Swap the canned soup for homemade. When you cook from scratch, you are in control. You naturally lower the sodium and sugar without having to count every single milligram. Finally, we need to talk about the timeline. And this is important for your motivation. When you cut salt, you might see a drop in blood pressure within days because you are shedding water weight. That's the diuretic effect. But when you cut sugar and fix your metabolism, you are playing the long game. You are healing the biological machinery of your body. You are restoring the delicate glycocalyx, the microscopic protective lining of your blood vessels that get stripped away by salt and sugar. You are resensitizing your cells to insulin so your kidneys can finally relax. This takes weeks, sometimes months, but the result is a cardiovascular system that regulates itself naturally. It's the difference between constantly patching a tire and buying a brand new one. Lowering your blood pressure isn't about a life of deprivation. It's about freedom. It's about restoring the balance your body was designed for. By reducing the sugar that stiffens your vessels and the processed salt that overloads them, you aren't just lowering a number on a machine. You are buying yourself more time, more energy, and a future free from the fear of that ticking time bomb. You have the control. It starts with the very next meal you eat.